holding them? Let's have a fair and balanced debate. First up, Democratic strategist and former Missouri State Representative Don Calloway, screen left, and Matt Schlapp, the chairman of the American Conservative Union and a former director for President George W. Bush. Guys, thanks very much for joining us.
Good to be here.
Thanks for having us, Steve. Good morning.
Don, would a new law have stopped what happened this week down in Florida?
Perhaps not, but I don't think that the answer is to lift the enhanced checks that we had under Trump just because it was an Obama-based regulation. We saw that he lifted enhanced gun checks on those who are mentally ill, allowing them to get more access to guns. We've also seen the president balk at even the mention of guns, as he did yesterday during his press conference, which is ultimately kind of a failure of leadership. We have to acknowledge at some point that access to the normal citizens of these weapons of war without enhanced background checks, without doing normal things like banning bump stocks. I understand they weren't used yesterday, but we have to acknowledge that at some point we have to look into guns and access to weapons of war and mass killing machines. And without addressing that, we really have done nothing to kind of stop these type of situations from happening.
Well, Matt, one of the things the president tweeted about yesterday was the fact he brought up a mental illness. And now we know from the shooter's public defender, this guy is deeply disturbed. He was at a mental health facility up until about a year ago. Clearly, that is part of the equation that's got to figure into any kind of solution going forward.
Yeah, no, this is exactly at the heart of it. There are two things. The laws on the books need to be enforced, and we have this instant background check, which everybody agrees all the states and communities should be doing a lot better job. They should get all the funding they need and more to make sure we have the information on everyone who wants to buy a gun. But Steve, the biggest thing we could do is actually continue to pick constitutional judges who will actually keep us safe by enforcing these laws. We have too many judges who prevent law enforcement from taking steps.
What do you mean?
Well, we have too many occasions when people who have a mental disability, a mental illness, the government is to step in and say, look, maybe this is not the person who should have a weapon, and judges throw those decisions out left and right. We have to deal with this as a country. I know it's sensitive, but I really think it's a legitimate question to ask. Should somebody who has mental deficiencies always have the ability to have any kind of weapon they want?
I think the answer is no, isn't it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Of course,
Don?
the answer is no, but it's not just limited to mental deficiencies. We've seen the gentleman who shot 500 people, killing 60 in Vegas. He had no significant history of mental illness, and we've done nothing to stop any of this. I mean, if you consider, Matt and I have both been around long enough to see that this tax bill we just passed in last December, it was 10, 15 years in the making. But when this president decided and this Congress decided they wanted to act, they got something done. I don't know what else needs to happen for Congress to decide to act with some urgency and say we've had enough. We will do something, and we haven't done it on this one issue.
Let me jump in there
quickly.
I would support any law that would prevent these tragedies. The problem is I can't think of any law that would prevent these tragedies. I can't pass a law that says we should be our neighbor's keeper. We should all follow the golden rule. But I'll tell you one thing we should do. We should be more engaged in our. We should be more engaged in our community when we see something.
Nobody disagrees with that. But what we can't do is not act. What we can't do is lift regulations. We have gun show loopholes throughout this country where one can legal. That is absolutely true. You can go into any gun show in many states in this country, 30 states, and buy a gun without a significant background check. That should not be the case in this country. That is absolutely the case.
Fellas, I think
that's not accurate.
The key is that we are starting the conversation. They also have to figure out how to make it easier for kids to report problems when they see something.
That's right.
And they say it, and it goes to the proper person.
Don, and protect our kids at school.
Indeed. Don Calloway, Matt Schlapp, great discussion, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve.